Okay, so this is the center section of the Oracle console. So what we're going to talk about in this section of the video is we're going to talk about this area here, these faders, and how they differ from the channel faders, and also this area up at the top here, which is our monitor area, and then this screen up at the top here, which is our main center display screen. So if we look at the screen up at the top first of all, this shows us all of the busing information here. So on the left, this is our main bus. So this has 4 stereo buses, this console. We have main bus A, and then we have main buses B, C, and D. So all of our information is for the main buses is shown here. And this main fader here has a menu select. So right now I'm on main fader A. I can't turn that off. So this fader also always does something. It doesn't do nothing. It always does something. So right now it's on main A. If I move this fader, you can see it actually moves the fader level there and changes. So this display is the one I'm currently looking at. Okay. If I press main B now, like so, you will see that actually now I'm looking at main B here and main B there. So main B, main C, and main D, basically. So 4 main buses. Alright, this is a specific trim for the balance of the main buses. So let's say you have like a slight left-right offset, which we actually do have right here. So I can actually change the balance here to make it different if I wanted to. So this is like a very precision balance adjust. So it's plus or minus 5 dB, but that's a precision balance adjust, and that's done right there. So this, as I said, this is the main fader. This has got one of these little display buttons, just like our channel section had here, and that's the detail view. So if I wanted to see a detail view of the main buses on this screen here, I would highlight that. And this is in white. That shows me that it needs the shift button to get to it. So if I press my shift button here and press that now, this brings up my main bus display here. So this is like a more detailed view of my main buses. So you can see now if I move my main fader A, it moves it here. If I move my balance, it moves the balance there. And then if I select the different ones, it changes B, C, D, like that. So again, it's just a main bus display overview. But what I have in here, which I don't see on my normal display, is more information. So I have on here, using my navigator, just like we've got a navigator scroll wheel on the channel, we've got one here. So I can add 10 dB of gain on here, let's say I want to, and you see it actually changes the display there. So I've got a plus 10 dB gain there on any one of these buses. So I can add gain there. I can also inject these buses into my main bus A. So I've got B, C, and D, which can all be injected into my main A bus. So that essentially what I can do is you can do stem mix in here. I could have a drum stem if I wanted to, or keyboards or anything. I could have lots of different stems on here, and that would then feed into my main bus A. So that's shown on here, and again that's shown just by doing this detail view here. So if I deselect that detail view, it goes back to my normal display. So that's my display page. Over here, the rest of the stuff we've got going on, we have here my aux buses. So these are my 10 aux buses here. So I'm just going to keep your attention in this area, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my gain on this particular channel here so that I can show you what it looks like when we have information on all of these aux buses as well. So I'm just increasing the gain on one of my channels, which has some signal feeding into it, and you can see that basically those buses now have information. So purple is aux buses. So if you remember from the channel area, purple was auxes. So this is what my aux bus masters look like, and if I want to see a detailed view of my aux bus masters, just like we showed the detail view on the other one, I just need to highlight that. So that's actually done over here. So if I go and change here, so I'm highlighting my aux master, press my detail button on aux bus master now, these are my aux bus master. So this is my gain for these, which I can change. So I've got an overall level pot, gain control from our Orgs bus masters. And any buses on this console I can solo using the AFL button. So if I want to solo a bus, I can do that right here, like so. So this is my main Orgs bus masters. So I can look at them here, I can highlight different ones, I can do stuff with them here. So that's Orgs bus masters. To get out of that, again, you just deselect the little TV button, and then that goes away. Okay. After my Orgs bus masters, the next thing I've got is my stereo groups, and that's done here on the faders here. So my stereo groups are on the faders here. And right now I don't have any signal going into these actually, but what these are additional stereo channels or echo returns or reverb returns. There's 8 of those that you have on the console. And if I wanted to show these here, I would use the same idea. So we've got another detail view here, and again this is also white. So to get to a white one, I press this and press the shift button and press my detail view. So now this is showing me stereo group 1, and this shows me what I can do with it. Basically I can send it to Orgses, there's multi-track buses here, it has an insert point, it has a mid-side encode decode, and it even has something really nice which is a width adjustment here. So if I click down on this, I can actually make it wider or narrower. So this is useful again for different types of stereo inputs. You can actually change the stereo width on that. And then in addition to things like that, I've got a cut and a solo. So you can kind of think of it really like an additional fader or an additional input. And if you wanted to, you could insert a processor across this and actually use it as additional channels as well. So that gives you 16 inputs over 8 stereo, those 8 stereo returns, and we just view them all by looking at that. Okay. So again, if I want to get rid of this, get rid of the display that way, basically. So, so that's my 8 stereo groups. Next thing I've got is multi-track buses. So I have 16 multi-track buses, and these are the blue areas here. So we've just got signal going to multi-track bus 1 and 2 here from one of my channels, but all 16 are the same. If I want to see those, if I wanted a detail view on those, I highlight track bus master there, and then I press this view. So these are my 16 multi-track bus masters. Same idea, any bus on this console I can solo using AFL, and I've got a gain control of this as well. So I can change the gain of any one of my 16 multi-track buses using these gain control here. So detail view, want to come out of detail view, deselect the TV button, come out of the detail view. So that's multi-track buses. Over on the right hand side there, this is our monitor section. So this is metering what we're currently listening to, and we're listening to the mix bus right now, and it's showing us the mix bus there. So it's essentially showing us main bus A. It's the same thing. That's what we are listening to. The other things that we have there are foldbacks. So foldbacks are a way of generating headphone mixes, and if we want to see that in detail, this is the foldback section here. I press my detail view like so, and it shows me all of my different functions of the foldbacks. So foldback A, foldback B, foldback C, all identical buses, and they basically have the ability to pick up different signals to generate headphone mixes. So we can pick up a monitor input, which is anything we're listening to. We can pick up an external input, which is anything we feed into the console externals from the outside world. So let's say we were generating headphone mixes in Pro Tools. We would bring that Pro Tools mix-up, headphone mix-up into our externals, and then we'd have the benefit of two things. One, we get to the convenience of generating a headphone mix in Pro Tools, but we also get the convenience of being able to talk to our talent that we're recording as well. So you get hardware controls of the talkback functions, but you get the software control of setting that up inside Pro Tools. So it's kind of a nice hybrid approach to headphone mixing there.
Now I think I noticed a talkback patch on the patch bay.
There is, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So to do it the way that we've done it in the past, we would patch out of the talkback to number one of our headphone, number one to our headphone distribution. Correct? Okay.
Cool. Yeah,
Alright.
exactly. So the buttons so this is where we set up, levels, of course. Oh, and AUX 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can also generate headphone mixes from the AUX section on the desk, which is one of the more common ways to do this. So this is where you pick up that signal. They have to be stereo though. The reason that's grayed out is because AUX 1 and 2 is not stereo. If it is stereo, then you could feed it in there, and we do that just by configuring it to be stereo. The other thing that we got in here is a listen mic. So listen mic function is one of these functions where it's essentially you have a room mic and you listen back to a room mic, so you always have that open so you can hear it. And listen mic has been a really useful feature, so you can just keep that mic open and hear differently. Obviously you're going to have people recording with microphones for vocals, but the listen mic is really just a communication.
And how do you
section.
route that?
So that's just an input to the desk, and to listen to it we just press the button and then we listen to it, like so.
Input to the desk though, I mean, if we're coming in from, say tracking 26, tracking room A,
Yeah.
say number 26, we patch that to what to be able to hear it?
Listen mic input, so it's on your patch.
Okay, so it's a listen mic
Yeah, it's a listen
input.
mic, physical listen mic input.
So it's just one input for that.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we want to hear it, we press listen mic, and then there's a volume control for the listen mic input there. It has a really heavy compressor in it. It's one of the kind of signature sounds of SSL consoles, is this really heavy compression.
And
So-
how do you mute and unmute it?
So yeah, basically you just like that, on and off like that. Like so. And then also that signal is also available as an output as well. If you want to record that, you can actually do that. It's a very heavy, and there's a very, for the old people in the room, there's a very famous drum sound which is based around that.
We were talking about that yesterday.
The old people are laughing. Nobody else knows what I'm talking about, so I'll just leave it like that.
In the air of the night.
So that's something that is in every SSL now, actually. So the ability to record that listen mic setting. Old people, pipe down, please. We've got training for it. There's a really good video about that. I don't know whether you've ever heard about the guy that worked at SSL that actually did that for Hugh Padgett, actually went on to have a 40-year career at SSL after he did that. So it's kind of cool, but anyway, more about that later. So studio fallbacks are done here, ABC. The communications of that is done here. So let's say if I wanted to talk to fallback A, press that button, and now I'm talking to fallback A. If I wanted to talk to fallback B, talk that button, and say, fallback A is the singer. So I say, hey, that drummer sucks, doesn't he? But anyway, never mind. And then talk to the other person and go, that guitar player is terrible. But anyway, and then I talk to somebody else. But if I wanted to talk to all of them at the same time and go, you guys are doing great out there, and I do that with the talk back all button, like so.
So we could, instead of using a Pro Tools channel to send that talk back, we could come out of that, the fold back into, say, number one of our headphone distribution, and that would just go into number one on the pods out there, right?
Yeah.
So that might be.
It's convenient. I will say, it's a convenient thing to use to have it there so you can talk to them. Because you've got gain control which you can just have set up permanently. It's just convenient, honestly, to do it that way. And like I say, that hybrid approach of, if you want to generate the signals in Pro Tools, do that and feed them to your external, and then have your external feed in this section. So again, it's wired, it's there. It's a function of the desk. You can use it. So that's that section. So we've covered a little bit of this. I'll go back to that in a bit. But basically we're talking about this screen. So now we've done everything on the screen here, with the exception of this here. So these are mechanical meters, and these actually get a signal from the sensor section rack. So this is an audio cable, DB25 cable, that gets a signal from the main mix bus. So main mix bus A is what is displaying on these two VU meters, and then the compression meter is the amount of compression, the amount of gain reduction, that's being applied by using the compressor. And the compressor section is here, just above the communications is the compressor. So, just like everything else, there's a detail view.
Can we do that in a different video?
If you want, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, alright. So on this display here, there's other things that we can do. So if we kind of go down like this, this is something we touched on already, this was how I showed you the orgs masters by using actually, I'll press the focus button here, and you might be able to see this toggles between all of the different menus there. So I've got home, track bus masters, orgs masters, main buses, studio. So this is what's highlighted here, and you see as soon as I press down on one, it changes what goes on here. So, and if I want to show that on my screen, I use my detail view like everything else. So now, these 4 controls are doing the first section of the orgs master here. If I want to do the second section of the orgs master, what I have to do is go and press this button here, which says 5 through 8. Now these 4 controls are doing that gain on there. If I press 9 and 10 now, it does the final 2, basically. So this is a quick way of using the controls on the screen without needing to use the navigator. So that's for orgs bus masters. I can do it for my mains, I can do it for my studio, I can do it for my track bus masters. It's the same idea, and you'll see as soon as I do that, press the detail view, now these 4 pots are doing that. If I press that button, now these 4 pots are doing that, there, so on and so forth. So it's just a quick way of being able to do stuff. Okay. This screen also does other things as well. Instead of it being a detail view, there's an options button. So if I press options now, this brings up this little display on the right hand side here, and this is where my oscillator is done. So if I press down on oscillator and tone bus, I can turn my oscillator on and off, I can choose my level, I can set my frequency, so on and so forth. So there's different things I can do with the console oscillator. And the console oscillator is really useful for testing, checking levels, all of that, and it appears on your patch bay, so it's a physical output on your patch bay. Other stuff I can do in here, brightness. I can change the brightness of pretty much everything I see in front of me right here. So if I want to change the brightness of my main screen, go into main screen, say dark, make them dark, or dim, or half, or full, or whatever I want to do, basically. So make it, and this also is saved with the console, so this comes back when you change things. Power, if I want to power down the console, I can do that here from shutdown. About just tells me which version of software I'm currently running, so if you call up Alec and you say, hey Alec, I've got something going on my console, he might say, oh, which version are you running? So you can look in here and find out which version you're running. Faders, so there's a fader calibration here. I have honestly not tried this, so let's press it and see what happens. This is a new thing they just brought in. Okay, so this resets and calibrates the faders by the look of it. There you go. So it goes through a little subroutine, and it will go back to where it was before it started the calibration. So if anything weird is happening with the faders, you can just go in there and calibrate them like that. So that's really similar to what we've done on other SSLs by the look of it. So, yeah, so that's under fader. Admin, so this is another kind of configuration mode. So this is something you shouldn't really need to go into, but there's test modes in here. So if we go into test modes, we can go here and we can test this. So now it disconnects the console from the audio actually right now, and now it's in a test mode. So if I move something now, it basically echoes what I'm doing. So if you tell me, oh, I think this fader's bad, so okay, we'll go into the test mode. I'm like, oh no, well it's being recognized. So it's recognized the touch there, that's the touch on off, and then it's showing me the level. So the console thinks it's fine, So that's one of the test modes there, and that's going to be the same for different aspects. So you can see there, if I touch this, it's echoing back what it's doing, and it's changing the gain as well. So that's one of the test modes, like that. The other one, so soak test, this was the Vegas mode that we did the other day. So this just cycles through all the different colors for you. So let's say, for instance, red wasn't working on that button. When you did this test, it would show you green and blue, but it wouldn't show you red. So, one of the lamps had gone out or something like that. You could see that in this mode. And then the final one in here, the final mode is whack-a-mole. So literally like the game whack-a-mole. So you go here and you press the button and it turns it off. So these are just the functions that our test engineers use when they're testing it to check every button. And we did this yesterday. We went through and tested every button to make sure every button works. So if you're bored, go play whack-a-mole. Like that. And GPIO loopback. So we have GPI inputs and GPIO outputs on the back. So you can essentially bring in signals to make it do things. So you can make it control, the cut button if you wanted to. You can do a bunch of different things. So you can remotely do things.
We wanted you to hook up a record pedal.
Foot switch, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's GPIO. So there's a DB25 on the back of the sensor section there, which is exactly for that function. So that's that. So all of that stuff is under options. So options like that. This currently doesn't do anything, but will do something. Help mode does something. So this is those notification modes that we had already on the screen there. You can actually see that little red triangle means you've got a notification which you've not read, basically. So this is different notifications to what you see in the computer. So I need to highlight these all green, and once I highlight them all green, that should go out. So now I have no more notifications, basically. So that's that. So that's the help view. Overview. Let's see what overview does. Is that active yet? Okay, no. So that's the same thing. Yeah, they've not implemented that yet. So that's that screen there. Down from there, this is all Pro Tools / Logic / whichever DAW stuff. So this is transport control. This behaves as per your setup in Pro Tools. However you set this up to behave is how it's going to be in there. Is how it's going to behave in here, basically. So what's that complaining about? Something we don't care about. So
I need to